I just helped a client save over 10 hours a week by automating various parts of his Skool community. Now he can check members' engagement trends, he can check on popular posts, and he can even automate his posting instead of spending time going through their clunky interface doing it himself. He also saved money by removing the virtual assistants that were doing the task for him prior. Most people spend countless hours manually managing their online communities, specifically in Skool. They're trying to spot trends, measure user sentiment, and they're trying to gather valuable data. But what if you could do it without lifting a finger? Now, Skool doesn't have an API, but in this video, I'm going to show you how you can pull information from Skool, you can automate various workflows, and you can analyze trends using artificial intelligence and organize it all in Airtable or something like Google Sheets. All of this without any custom coding required or hiring expensive freelancers. So if you're looking for a faster and smarter way to level up your Skool community and make more money by removing staff that you're having to manage, this is going to be the video for you. So let's dive in. What we're going to want to do is really understand the different components that we're going to be working with. And I find the best way to do that is by mapping them out and looking at them from a high-level structural point of view. So what we're going to be looking at in the color red, of course, is first we're going to be looking at Apify. Apify is going to be used for data collection. And then we're going to be looking at using make.com. Make.com is going to be used for webhooks and data transfer. This is going to allow us to integrate artificial intelligence. And this is going to allow us to get sentiment as well if we want to go that far inside of our demo. And then finally, we're going to use Airtable. I'm writing too fast. For custom data storage. And this also allows us to integrate with make.com very seamlessly. So where do we start? We have Skool. Now, Skool does not allow any sort of API. What we're going to do is come into Apify, where they have several what are called actors. And what each of these actors do when we choose the right one is they're actually going to come onto the web. You can imagine this as the internet. And they're going to use what's called a headless browser. They're going to use a only code version of the browser, and what that's going to do is come into Skool and it's going to scrape the valuable data. Now, some of these are only for profiles, some of these are only for posts, and so we're going to need to pick the right one. But once our agent has the information, make.com is going to have a webhook. And what do they have a webhook look like? And what a webhook does is watch to see when the job has actually finished. Okay, here's a beautiful little eye for us. It's going to be watching over here. And when the job is actually finished, it's going to receive our bundle of data. And this bundle of data is going to go through a series of transformations until it can finally make it into a nice database through their built-in integrations. Now, what this allows us to do is to get information without any sort of official support from Skool. This seems to be something they're limiting because they want to keep people dependent on their platform. That's a conversation for another day. Let's start building. So where we're going to start is on this page. We're going to pick the right Apify actor. So instead of building a scraper from scratch or outsourcing that task to somebody from a third world country, what we're going to do is go into the Apify marketplace, their store, and we're going to choose code and scrapers that are already written for us. What this is going to allow us to do is to get community posts and engagement metrics. We're going to be able to get members lists and profiles without having to go in there and download some CSV. And we're also going to get follower details. So as we look at these different actors is what they call them, we're going to start to find which ones are worth it, and maybe you'll see us do well. You see, this one has the most, but it has very low ratings. People are leaving low ratings for a reason. We can try for free for 2 hours and then pay $20 a month. But let's see if we can look at the ratings. We can go down, scroll down to the bottom. And we'll see how it's working. 4 bookmarks, 99% success. So let's go ahead and look at one that is maybe a bit more consistent. So this one actually has more users, pay per results, and this is going to get our members. But where we want to start is with community, posts, and classrooms. So once we have this, we're actually going to need to try for free. And then we're actually going to need to start to look at the information that it gets us. And we're going to have to start to look at cookies. Okay, we already have one. What's this one called? Cookie editor. Perfect. And then we're going to have to go through this process. So let's open up a new tab. We can hit Command and refresh. And what we can do is we'll try for free. We'll get this inside of our Apify console and we'll start working with this automation. And let's find the Skool community that we like. Ideally, it's a Skool community that we lead. And not this one, but let's go into something that I had going for a while. It'll be interesting to see if we can get in here. We can go here, and what would we like to scrape? The community. And we would like to look at the cookies. So let's see how we can actually get the cookies. Cookie editor. Okay, we don't really need that page. We specify the URL. Select the classroom. Customize settings. And so there's no real settings, but I know from working with other agents, what we can do is go to Skool, go to Cookie Editor. We'll go to this site, allow. And what we can do is we can export the header string and it'll be copied for us. So we can come back to our post here and it looks like it'll give us an array. So we don't want to actually just paste it. We'll add these quotation marks and paste it like that. What we want to be aware of is sometimes there's additional quotation marks here around client ID. We don't have those. So we seem to have enough. Let's see if we can save and start this. And what will happen is we'll get a printed log here and we'll start to see some of the results. What will happen is it will run for a very short period of time if there are any errors. And let's see how we end up. While this is loading, what I'm going to do is show you our integrations. So what we can do is we can set up integrations and we can start to set up webhooks. You can see there's already Make and integrated with this. And so let's see what it pre-populates for us. We'll go into scenarios, into the playground, create a new scenario, and we'll figure out a name for this later. But what we can do in the meantime is we can look at Apify. And what we're looking for is an actual webhook or something to receive the information when it's finished. Apify. Watch actor runs. This is instant and acid, so this is what we want. What you'll need to do is choose a hook. And the way that we add one of these is by our GitHub Apify connection. And let's see what we already have here. We have school community posts. Okay, so once I save and start, I'll have this available. What we'll name this is school communities and posts. And there's no errors. Great. We may need this for later. So let's go back to our run here. And let's take a look at it. How did we end up? 1 succeeded, 0 failed. Okay, so it looks like we've got some information here. No results. Okay, so this is actually a page that's not active. Are we going to be able to go into somebody else's community and take their data? How about Data Freelancer? Let's see if we can get something for free out of the box without changing the cookies. Let's go back to the actor. Input. And we can change the settings, general, cookies. Use the same cookie, save and start. We're back. We actually had to change our approach to getting the cookies, and we chose a public group. We would come into cookie editor, come under export, and we would copy the JSON string, which gives us this big object right here. But this also gives us the start URL, and it gets us the comments that we wanted. So we'll get the data real fast. And you can see here we have a lot. We have not the course ID, but when the post was created, the group, a unique identifier for the course, and what's the name of each one of these posts. And there's 8 fields under each one. And what we can do is we can see the bio, and we can see the picture of the person created at, their name, and we can look at the link to the website. What else can we look at here? We can look at the title of the post. Great, this was the user fields that we were actually looking at. What we want to look at is the metadata. This is everything we need. So let's go back to make.com. It looks like I left the scenario without saving it, so let's create a new one. And remember, we've already went ahead and created the webhook or the integration. And we've already saved our actor. So all we really need to do is click Apify, watch for an actor. You remember earlier we already created the webhook, school community, and we'll want to save. So let's do something like this. We're going to run the actor again. It won't take very long. All the information is still the same. And let's go ahead and start it. And what we should see is a bubble pop up here in 1 second. You see we have a crawler like we discussed earlier, and it looked like it's finished. So what we can do is we're going to come over and we can see that we received some data. In make.com, we can click on this little zoom in magnifying glass, and we can see what we're receiving. ID, actor ID, and metadata is really what we want, but not here for options, pricing info. Okay, so what this is the actual information from our actor. Now what we want to do is we want to come into Apify. We want to get dataset items. We want to get the dataset items from the dataset ID that our actor is returning. So let's see if we can find that. And so you saw a second ago that we were able to get all of the information from our Apify scraper. And what we want to do is save that information so we can review these posts later and put them into a new automation. So let's go ahead and create a new base. We'll start with a simple table, and what we'll do is we'll go back and we'll look at the data that's important to us, which in this case is we're going to look at the content, and we're going to look at the number of positive versus negative content. Okay, we're going to look at and see what everybody is talking about. Contributors, that's a bit too complicated. Poll data. So let's do title, content, created at, the user, and let's see if there's a link. So what we can do is we can go into Airtable, and we're going to call this and we'll keep this name. We have to keep this as the primary field, so we'll change this to being called title. The long text, we're going to change this to content. We'll change this user to another single line text, and we'll name this user. And instead of a status, what we're going to do is a date, and this is created date. And so what we'll need to do is, because we already have this integrated with our make, what we can do is we can very easily come in here, click in Airtable, and instead of search record, we're going to create a record. What we'll do is the base, and what did we name this? Scraping. Great, and this is going to give us all the fields that we need. And what we're actually going to do is further customization inside of Airtable to make sure everything's really easy to read. This will be single select. What this will be, this will be group name. Create a field. What we can do is we can just come in here, title, content, username, created date is somewhere down here. And if you noticed, we went and we changed Airtable. So let's save this, and we'll need to click the refresh button right here. And now we have the group ID, group ID, and we're going to start to see this update automatically. Well, it looks like there was no data in that. So let's kick off this run again. We can say immediately as data arrives. What we'll be able to do is, now that this is live, we can just come in here, go back to our actor, and we'll just start it again. And what we'll see is the moment it's finished, we'll see it populate here. And while that's loading, what we can do is we can actually go in and create some automations. And what automations allow us to do is going to turn the group ID into a single select ID. So add a trigger when a record is created in our table. Maybe we should wait for it to populate. See, it populated very quickly. And it has all the information we need here. We can come in, expand this, and we're seeing everyone's posts in Skool. And so that's how we're going to automate our online communities using artificial intelligence, going from Apify to make.com to Airtable. Now in this video, we left a lot of the Airtable.com automations out of place, where we can map IDs to specific users. We can change fields programmatically using their automations tab, but we'll save that for another time. What you want to take away from this is that there are already AI agents available on the internet for you to integrate with your no-code and low-code tools for you to really make impressive applications that save you time, eliminate staff, and most of all, just maintain your sanity when you're growing a community or scaling your business. And so instead of wasting hours manually tracking conversations, you'll have You'll have automated workflows delivering insights straight to you so you can spy on your competition and set yourself apart in the future. If any of this is valuable to you, go ahead and check out more of our videos where we're going to be sharing how you can use artificial intelligence to replace back-end systems and back office procedures in order to really get exponential gains in your growth and set yourself apart. We'll see you in the next one.